Hello guys. Before we begin, lean in and hold your breath for a moment. Picture the lights dimming, the room going silent, and a slow drumbeat rising somewhere far away. Imagine two people on a stage, one standing calm, the other restless, moving about as if the world must never stop watching. Now pause. Feel that silence in the middle of all the motion. That is where truth hides. We are about to open a story many have seen but few have understood. Do not rush. Do not blink. Just follow closely as the curtain rises. The real gist is not in the noise, it is in the spaces where effort becomes too loud. Ready? Let us walk gently into it. Let me gist you the way a close friend would. There is a simple test I use when feeling step before a camera. Real connection never begs. It never forces extra light or endless displays. It just appears and settles calmly. What we keep noticing looks more like rehearsed scenes, pictures arranged to convince outsiders. The more they repeat, the more life slips out, and that is when hearts begin to doubt. I am not fabricating stories, I am only observing what is plain to see. When affection is real, it glows quietly even in silence. But when it becomes a show, it starts pleading for applause. That is the tension here. One figure stays calm, steady, untouched by pressure. The other seems restless, arranging, staging, and pushing. That energy creates noise that drowns the soft music love usually plays. If it were natural, it would breathe without proof. But because it needs constant effort, it feels staged. Here is something else to think about. Borrowed light shines briefly but never lasts when there is no substance underneath. Standing close to a star pulls eyes, yes, but eyes are not loyalty. Loyalty only grows when there is steady value that does not beg. What we are seeing here looks more like attention being rented, not truly earned. There is presence, there is framing, but very little that turns the spotlight into something lasting. Anyone who leans only on another person's glow is already working against time. The crowd may look once, maybe twice, but they leave if they cannot find roots. This is not insult, it is just what happens when dependence replaces depth. If that borrowed fame truly worked, by now we would see steady fruits, consistent growth, a personal voice, something that does not need daily reminders. Instead, the shine looks like reflection on glass. It is attractive for a second, but disappears once the light shifts. That is why people keep watching with doubt. Let us pause and talk about the quiet figure in all this. Silence is powerful. It can mean wisdom, indifference, or patience, and that is why people keep guessing. Whatever it means here, one thing is clear, the calmness is steady. Now put that calm beside constant push for attention, and the contrast is obvious. He does not rush to prove anything. He walks, he delivers, then he moves on quietly. Meanwhile, the noise around him tries to drag him into labels and performances. But silence, in moments like this, becomes a mirror. It reflects the difference between natural ease and restless effort. The more the show shouts, the more his stillness exposes the gap. And once audiences see that mirror, they cannot unsee it. They begin to ask questions. They begin to wonder why one side feels light while the other side feels heavy. That questioning is where doubt enters, and no caption can erase that impression once it settles. Balance is the key to every strong partnership. When two people work together, both must bring something clear. It does not have to be equal, but it should be visible. What the eyes keep seeing here, though, is one side doing most of the running while the other side stands calm. You can feel the weight tilting just by watching. The energy looks one-sided. There is chasing, arranging, staging, while the other stays almost untouched by the performance. That imbalance is not hidden. It quietly shows up in every appearance, and the crowd cannot ignore it. People may smile at the pictures, but deep down they sense that something is missing. When energy flows only one way, the connection drags. A dragging bond eventually tires both the crowd and the story itself. Nobody needs special eyes to see this. It is plain. Real connection dances with rhythm. One-sided effort feels like pulling a cart uphill, and people are beginning to notice that strain. Let us now face the platform question. Attention has poured in, plenty of it, yet when people go back to check for steady growth, they find silence. A page that should be alive with progress sits quiet, like a shop with lights on but no goods on the shelves. That picture is telling. It means attention has not been converted into value. Exposure is supposed to water seeds, but where there are no seeds, even heavy rain leaves nothing behind. People arrive because of the star nearby, but they leave gently when they see no independent strength. If the ground were truly fertile, we would see shoots, original projects, clear voice, steady rhythm. Instead, after every big moment, quietness returns. That is the lesson many are drawing. Rain does not produce harvest without planting. Here, the exposure looks wasted. That is why the platform feels empty, and that emptiness tells more truth than any performance can cover. Let us consider the audience carefully. Fans are not blind. They know the rhythm of someone they have followed for years. They know his natural flow. So when stage moments appear that do not fit his character, they sense it immediately. That is why people are hesitant to fully accept what is being pushed. Yes, they watch politely. Yes, they comment. But loyalty is deeper than surface noise. Loyalty requires alignment, and here the alignment is missing. The scenes do not blend with the calm brand he has built over time. Instead, they stand apart, leaving a gap that the public feels but cannot always explain. That gap is dangerous, because it makes the story look less convincing each time it is told. Audiences may clap once, but their hearts do not stay. Until the rhythm matches, until the story feels natural, the distance will remain. People want truth, not campaigns, and that is why they are watching with suspicion. We must talk about desperation because it is the word floating around. Desperation shows up when every move looks like chasing. It is seen when affection becomes more of a billboard than a natural flow. Ambition is different. Ambition works quietly and delivers even when nobody claps. Desperation, however, needs an audience at every step. The patterns we are seeing link closer to the second. The smiles appear calculated, the timing too precise, the presence too constant to look easy. This is not about insult, it is simply about reading signs. In entertainment, once people sense desperation, they begin to pull back. They start doubting. They start questioning motive. And the more proof is displayed, the weaker it feels. Real bonds stroll gently. They never rush. They do not need to shout to exist. But when something is performed too often, the performance becomes louder than the message. That loudness is what many are now whispering about, and it does not help our case. The risk to his name is quiet but real. He has built a brand with calmness and steady work. That brand carries respect, and respect is fragile. Each time he appears in a frame that looks forced, a small thread of that respect is stretched. Not enough to break it instantly, but enough to make people blink. Silence in such moments can be mistaken for agreement, and that is how delusion begins. He may think he is simply being kind or patient, but patience in the wrong frame borrows the noise around it. A strong name should stay clear of confusion, yet these constant performances threaten to blur his image. His strength has always been clarity. If clarity gets clouded by stage closeness, then the shine that once spoke loudly may start looking softer. That would be a needless loss, and many watchers already fear he may be giving away more than he realizes. Now let us talk about the opportunity. Think of how many would pray for such exposure, such easy access to a massive platform. With that kind of chance, the wise thing would be to build steady projects, creative voice, and consistent presence. But what we keep seeing is repetition of the same act, the same closeness, like a shortcut to fame. Shortcuts may look sweet at first, but they always reveal cracks. That is why this approach looks shaky. Instead of laying bricks for a strong house, time is being spent repainting the same small corner. People are not blind. They see when growth is real because they can trace the steps. But when growth is borrowed, all they see are flashes. Flashes may excite the eyes, but they never form a ladder to climb higher. Once the light goes out, the stage looks empty again. That is the danger of wasting golden opportunities, and many feel it is happening right now. We close with the plain truth. Performances can thrill for a while, but truth is what lasts. What we are seeing here carries the marks of a show that needs constant fuel. It needs proof after proof, frame after frame, reminder after reminder. Real connection does not need that much push. It exists quietly even when no one is watching. That is why, despite all the display, many still go back to check for real evidence. They visit her space, and they find little to hold on to. They return later, and still the silence continues. Without steady growth, all the noise fades like smoke. And once smoke clears, only the solid things remain. If there is genuine closeness, it will breathe naturally without staging. If not, then no amount of crafted scenes will create it. That is the balance everyone is watching now, and it is only a matter of time before the truth fully reveals itself. If you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.